Go.
Okay. Howard, are you Tom Hanks? Are you the character in Biggs? Who are you?
Oh, I'm a game master for Nintendo of America, and basically I play games, evaluate all the new games for them.
How did you get a job like that?
I was in the right place at the right time. I started working at Nintendo about 8 or 9 years ago, and actually I was working in the warehouse shipping Donkey Kong video games, but I was always very upfront with ways I thought we could improve our games and make them better, and I guess somebody listened, and next thing you knew I was evaluating them.
So does that mean that you are that you're a kid yourself, that you just have this in on how these kids think?
People used to think that to play games you had to be a kid, but that's not necessarily true. You just have to want to have fun. And I really enjoy having fun playing games, etc. And I think that's why I do good at it.
Well, now, I asked you before, why does Nintendo have such a jump on everybody else in terms of all of the things that you have as products?
I think that's because we really focus. We're focused on fun. We want to deliver fun. It's very easy to forget that and to do other things and maybe get worried about whether the box looks right or different things when you're making a game. But the bottom line is it's fun to play. And so everybody works towards that common goal, and that makes certain that what we end up with is something that's entertaining.
Okay, now you said that you've got the pulse on fun. All right, what is it that kids want? And when you're out there and you're trying to climb into their minds, how do you describe a 12-year-old and what they're looking for?
To play games, typically you're going to challenge yourself. And you want to also be able to reward yourself eventually. It's no fun to challenge yourself so you can't attain anything if it's too hard. But you don't want it so easy that you could just get it anyway, that anybody could do it. You want to be challenged, and you want to be able to get that reward. You want to know that you're a Superman or that you're a super player. And I think that's very important for people when they're playing, to feel like they get a sense of mastery when they're playing games.
Okay, why is that important to a kid?
When you're a kid, I think a lot of times maybe adults will have the upper hand, and they're the ones who can hit the home runs over the 480-foot mark in the play field, or they're the ones that can hit the driving wedge on the golf course 280 yards or something. But when you're a kid, typically video games are your area of expertise, and the opportunity to show up a parent or show up somebody who's older than you is really neat and fun. The ability to take somebody who's maybe 3 years older than you, yet you can play games better than they can. That's neat.
All right, so I'm picturing all of you sitting in a corporate boardroom out there in Seattle, if you have such a thing. Okay, how do you arrive at your decisions?
To decide, any one particular decision is tough. Should we go this way or should we go that way? You don't really know which way to go sometimes. And the bottom line, if you're focusing on something, is it makes it easier. So when I say we focus on fun, we can say, well, would it be more fun to do this, or would it be more fun to do that? If you don't know, if I don't feel inside, would it be more fun, then we go out and we ask people. We get their input on what they think.
Okay, now people, are you asking, do you have a little stable of kids that you go to, or how do you get this information?
It's kind of secretive, but we do have a lot of people involved in the evaluation process. I mean, regularly, every game that comes into Nintendo is evaluated by a lot of people. And we also do, part of those people that do the evaluation are kids. We have kind of a secret place that they do it.
So are you in charge of them? Is that part of what you do?
I can't tell you very much in this regard, but I work very closely with our evaluation system.
Now, the criticism of games like this are that they're vacuous, that kids are spending hours and hours and not enough time on quote, more valuable things. What do you say to that?
Many people have said on occasion that because video games are associated with TV, that they therefore must not be productive or good for you. And I think that now that TV's been around for so many years, people are realize that TV can provide something that's very entertaining, whether it's a neat movie or whether it's rock video or who knows what, or video games. We provide the opportunity to have interactive experience to reward and challenge yourself to enter a whole new world. And I think that that's really fun and valuable for somebody, whether you're getting a sense of self-esteem because you challenged the game and you were patient and you're persistent and you beat it in the end, you won, or whether that's that you're simply entertaining yourself. I mean, everybody should have the freedom to entertain themselves and make themselves happy, whether that means sitting down in a grassy area and looking up at the clouds, or whether that means playing a video game. Everybody has that right.
Okay, now entering this world, I mean, is this addicting at all?
It's very, very captivating because it does give you such a high level of return. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. The action is fast and the rewards are very rapid, so that in any 1 minute or 2 minute period, I mean, you're getting patted on the back 100 times saying, you did great, and that's very, 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 very powerful.
Now, one of the criticisms is that this quickness and this immediate gratification, okay, that these kids, when they go back to the real world, let's say their classroom, and things are a lot slower, that they don't deal with reality anymore the same way because they're so pumped up from playing hours and hours on these games. Is that any truth to this?
The reality of the world today is that with electronics, we can very rapidly give feedback to people. And for instance, in learning something, whether you're a 12-year-old kid or whether you're an adult, you can learn very, very, very quickly if you're given rapid positive feedback. And quite frankly, I think the classrooms have a little catching up to do in their mechanisms to bring them into touch with the real world, and that kids are out there willing to learn things at a much quicker pace than maybe they're being presented to them.
All right, now I just want to look here. Okay, one of the things I was reading about, a psychologist described this kind of euphoria, this mental stimulation as energy flow. Have you heard this?
There's been various different ways to describe the feeling that you get when you play games, and whether it's a flow state or who knows how you describe it. But I know myself, just from my own personal experience, when I'm playing sometime and I'm finally making it through that barrier that I've been bouncing up against a wall of challenge for maybe the last 15 minutes or so, and I finally bust through and make it into that next level, I feel great, and that feeling that I'm just at one with the game, that it's not an electronic image and I'm out here playing the game, that I'm in this world, that kind of alternate reality or artificial reality is really neat.
So do you think like a kid, or I know you said that it's unfair to say adult thinking like a kid, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, do you have a special gift for this?
I think I'm always thinking young, and eventually I think adults will learn to think more young, in that they'll be looking for opportunity, looking at things with a fresh outlook, looking for entertainment and value out of anything, whether it's walking down the street and whistling or skipping, or riding your skateboard or whatever it is, or whether it's working on a paper or something, or having a conversation with somebody. You should always be enjoying yourself and having fun.
Tell me about the senior citizens that you were with the other day.
It's funny that all people are now starting to see how much fun it is to play games. It's entertainment. It's not just toys for little kids. I mean, certainly, a 14 or 15-year-old knows it's serious entertainment, not a toy. But the other day I was at a senior center teaching seniors how to play. And maybe 5 or 10 years ago, they would have been very standoffish because, of course, it's electronics and it's dangerous to play with or something. And yet they were very, very open to play the games now. And I think it's kind of a change in perspective that for adults, it's now acceptable to be entertained with video games, and they have a lot to offer. And these grandparents jumped right in there, and they couldn't wait to show their grandchildren, the new skills that they'd learned. It was neat.
Do you think the games are too violent?
The games themselves have to have a rapid positive feedback to them, and that means high action in many cases. We try very hard to ensure that the games don't have gratuitous violence or something like that, because that doesn't do anybody any good, and quite frankly, it doesn't make the games any more fun. what makes the game fun is the excitement and the action that's provided, like Indiana Jones. You know, in Indiana Jones, when he's galloping on that horse or hanging off of the front of that turret on the tank as it's barreling along, it's exciting. It's got nothing to do with showing any blood or any blowing up or of body parts or anything like that. It's just the excitement of the moment, and that doesn't need to be violent.
For all those reasons, is that why it's more popular with boys than with girls?
A lot of people think it is more popular with boys and girls, and that's because of its classic roots. Electronic entertainment was directed at boys. It was directed at boy characters and boy stereotypes, but that's changing significantly now. I mean, recently we've seen about 40% of the people who go out and buy Game Boy, the new electronic handheld game, like the Walkman type thing, 40% of them are women and girls, which is really interesting that now that they realize that, yeah, it's not only is it okay, but it's cool, it's fun to play games. And that's a real change, the fact that entertainment is not strictly a male thing just because it's electronic.
Now, just describe to me, like in any given day, what do you go out and do?
I do a zillion things in any one day. There's always new games coming in, and I evaluate new games and look for ways that we can improve them, make them better. I work for Power Magazine as one of the senior editors, so always thinking about, well, what makes this game neat? What makes it unique? How can I describe it to somebody? Working on things like the Power Fest, a promotion that we have where you can go and have the Nintendo World Championships that's going around to cities around the country. Working on design of that. What games should we put out in the show? How long should we make a stage presentation? Who's going to get bored, and when are they going to get bored? Trying to work with making sure that everything that Nintendo does is in tune with the customer, with the players, and make sure that the players are having fun, whether it's watching a commercial, whether it's playing a game, or whether it's going to the Power Fest.
Okay, to that end, the game counselors are really key to this whole thing. And describe to me, I mean, just a few years ago you said there were only 5, and now there's 1,200? Is that,
well,
tell me how they are and why they are so important to the whole process.
Game counseling service is very important, and the reason being is games are very complex these days. There's a lot to them. And when we first started, maybe in '85 or '86, there was only 5 of them. I remember we transferred five people out of the customer service area into game counseling, and then it was really neat because they get to spend all day on the phone answering gameplay questions. These days, of course, they've got these high-tech phones that rest on their head, and they can sit there with it and play games with their hands while they've got their headset on, and they can look at their computer terminal. And the objective of them is to make it fun for people to play games. And sometimes you get frustrated when you're playing a game, especially after you've tried the same thing over and over for maybe an hour or so, and you can't figure out how to get ahead. And game counselors are the ones that sit there and they go, well, what did you try? Did you try it this way? Maybe you want to try it that way a little bit, and it'll help you out a little. They kind of guide you into the game and help you enjoy it more.
All right, let me just run over here with my notes. Are you kind of a hero to kids?
Maybe to some. Hopefully not to too many. I mean, I'm just like anybody else. I play games and I have fun with them. I am in Power Magazine in the Howard and Nestor character. That's me, Howard. I do a lot of work going out on the road and telling people when we come out with new products, explaining to them. I explained to them what Game Boy was all about. And I expend a lot of energy doing things like that. But I'm not so much a hero. I'm just a regular guy.
Do they ask for your autograph?
Yes, I've penned my name a couple times. Yeah.
And is there going to be a movie made about you, or will you be worked into any of these?
Who knows what the future holds? We're going to be here forever, the way I figure it, and there's lots of opportunities in the future.
So you don't think you can grow old or grow out of this job?
I can't see how you could grow out of the entertainment industry. I mean, you're always going to be entertained, whether you're lying on your back at 90 years old or whether you're just a young buck like me.
I don't even even know you should even call it a job. It's more like a mission or a calling. Would you agree with that?
In any job that I've ever had, I've always made it fun. Whether it was flipping pancakes and flipping them 3 times in the air, or whether it was loading trucks when I first started working at Nintendo, and today, working in product development in the magazine and evaluating games. You always got to have fun, and no matter what it is you do.
I think that's it.
I was never. Go get it.
You gotta jump to stop.
You gotta jump to stop. Okay.
Once you jump, you can't triple again.
Oh, really? So I should just do a shot like that?
Yeah, the harder you come down, the farther it goes.
There it is.
Try to dribble in closer. Yeah.
That stuff. Right, like that? Yeah, that. And you hard, you go like bam, you like really hard. Okay. You do the same one? It's not lefty like that.
Yeah, I do left.
Is it this one or is it this one? I wonder what you do if you're left-handed. Can you stuff a shot? Yeah, all right.
It's just a question.
He's been practicing. It makes it easier. Get up there. What?
It's really 2 points though.
Uh-huh. There you go. All right. 8 seconds. I'm never going to do it.
Dribble your hand over there.
That's yours again. That ball.
Play again.
You said I'm going too fast or too slow, do you think?
Hold it over this sensor right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this is to dribble forward.
That was just pure skill. Up. Oh, man. Uh-oh. You've been hanging back on me.
You have to dribble real fast.
I keep forgetting. Oh, I had it? Let me get it from you again. Get up there. Oh, uh-oh. You're in the lead again. That was a quick one. I'm just going for that. I wanted to feed it to the man on the inside.
Yes.
Wow, you can steal the ball.
Oh, shoot that.
So you're coming across the sensor.
You want me to go up and down, huh? I'm afraid I'm going to hit somebody.